I'd say resilient, resilient, togetherness, and we competed at a high level throughout the circumstances that we dealt with this season. Been a part of a lot of really strong culture teams. What separated us is probably just coming together. Again, it's kind of through those circumstances that we dealt with. Lost a bunch of scholarship guys that semester. There was games where we're down to 6-7 dudes, stuck together, and we just knew next man up. And as long as we stay together, that we're going to have a good chance of winning. I think that's kind of what separated us, is not having to deal with the circumstances on some of the other teams that have had a really strong culture as well. At the end of the day, yes. We were, top. We're number 3 defensively. But when you got a team that's together and a really strong culture, that, overpowers a lot of things. So this is kind of that combination of a great culture and, being the number 3 defensive team in the country, kind of gave us a good chance to win every night. Everyone liked each other. Second semester, guys stepped up as leaders when we had more guys that were, all in, and more guys, came comfortable leading when they knew they had the right guys next to them, and got everyone willing to, listen to each other and trust each other, that, each guy wants the best for each other. And I think that's kind of what, the biggest thing that stuck out. Everyone's just so connected and wanted, success for one another. I think it was a Bay College game. It was the second game after break. Lost a lot of our scholarship guys, and playing against a ranked team at their place. Down a couple of guys because they were sick. So we're down to about 7 dudes that night, and we just came together, played our butts off every single possession, and took that next step forward as a team of just. It doesn't matter who's here; it matters who's in this room, and we can figure out how to win as long as we stay together each possession and keep fighting for all 40 minutes. So that Bay College game, especially we started out down 10-0, we could easily have folded, especially with everyone knowing the circumstances that we're in. But we stuck together and ended up winning by double digits, and it was probably the most connected and well-played game that we played all year on a consistent basis on both ends of the floor. I'd say it was, because after that game, guys were kind of, still, you could tell, a little bit in question of how things were going to go the rest of the season. But after that game, everyone knew that, if we stay together, no matter, if we got, someone sprains an ankle or is sick and we're down a couple of guys, we have enough guys to step up and, get through if it's down the, 6 dudes or 8 dudes, whatever it may be. So I think that was just our proudest moment. And, a lot of people in the locker room saying that was their favorite win all year, and it just meant a lot to, a lot of the players and the coaching staff. The biggest thing is just, is making sure, holding guys accountable. So you have the right guys in the room. And if you have the right guys in the room, then you have a chance to be, a pretty successful team the rest of the way. But just kind of, finding the right people earlier in the season to make sure we got a more connected group early on, rather than wasting time with guys that aren't about the right things. I think especially being my first year, knowing I had the right people that were bought into my coaching style, it made things easier and more confident in myself as well, and just being my first year. So definitely, I think players make comments about that as well. That things were better second semester, because guys were more connected. And again, I was just more confident in myself as well, because I know I had the right guys next to me to compete every night. I We lose a lot of really good players, so got to reload here, and got to work our butts off here, and to get some good players to come in. Obviously, hopefully, I think the most exciting part is hopefully, I think the return's going to do a really good job of setting the standard to continue going forward here. It's been a couple of really, really good years of this really strong culture, and it's excited to keep building that going forward here, so we can keep being successful going forward here. But got to bring some really good players to do that as well. We lose, obviously, first team all-region player, Vontez Dent, our leader, heart and soul, definition of an elite culture guy. More guys you have like him, the better your culture is going to be, the better team you're going to be, the tougher the team you're going to be, and so it's going to be a big loss losing him. Obviously, Carter Seawright, second team all-region kid, led the country in blocks by like 42. Obviously, absolutely, elite rim protection that he brought every single night, anchor to our defense, and big reason why we're a top 10 defense, not just this year, but as well last year. Lose Damaj, also, really important piece. A guy that was able to get in the paint almost any time he wanted, make plays for other guys, hit some tough shots that others couldn't. We also lose, another key guy that, maybe didn't show up in the scoring column, but when it comes to just making all the little plays that matter, of winning, guy that led our team in, positive plus minus per minute, Aaron Bickham, that has been here for 3 years, knew all the ins and outs of our program and what we wanted on a daily basis. Another important piece was Jalen Murphy, double-digit scorer. Guy that was another really strong culture guy, got it done on both ends of the floor, led our team in steals, and then we lost Gore, good player on both ends of the floor, super high motor, and this length and athletic ability he brought out there to affect shots, get deflections, offensive rebounds. Another elite culture guy that was a really good student as well. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing out of all those guys. They're all really, really good people, and we got to replace that, make sure we continue bringing in the right people to continue our success going forward. What we got coming back, though, I'm really excited about, Tayshawn Wallace, guy that, up and down season, but had some big games for us. And you could argue was, our best player in the playoffs, and most important guy that, got us to that region championship game, hit some big time shots, and really excited to see him take that next step here, learned how to really play with the chip on his shoulder, and really excited to, have him take that next step forward. I think he could be a really good player going forward here. Got some guys that were out. Antoine Burns-Jones, we're expecting a lot from this year. Ended up being hurt all year. Excited to have him come back. Guy that had some really successful games at the D1 JUCO level. Local guy. Loves being here. Loves being close to home and all that. Really excited to get him back out there. Think he can be a really good player for us, and we're expecting it this year. And now another year older and more mature, I think he'd be a really good leader for us next year. Keaton Mulberry, another guy that was hurt all year for us, and brings some elite toughness, and he plays hard. Excited to see him take that step forward this summer as a player and be ready to go. And then we have a couple other guys coming back here that redshirted and all that, but we're excited to see them take their next steps forward. And Cameron Nerby and Jordan Lovelace taking that next step forward as a player as well. If you're someone that's coming to games and all that, I know it's one thing I think I can promise it is that you're gonna no matter if it, kid or not your kid, if you're just coming to watch Bryant Stratton basketball, you're just gonna love being around the team. people that are going to be great people. They're excited to talk to, say a good game to, and you're going to get really good, respectful kids. Find a team, find guys that are just going to compete at a high level, play the game the right way, do everything on and off the court to represent a program in a positive way. So I think that's something that you walk around, you're gonna just kind of see a group on a consistent basis going forward and that's credit to Coach Ruffin really get this culture changed last year, and just kind of continue moving forward here of just bringing in really good people and people you want to be around and enjoy cheering for.